work. Last month it was attacked in its current home of New Zealand in a protest act by a Maori separatist. The America's Cup is the oldest international trophy any sportsman can lift in victory. The prestigious yachting prize was last won by New Zealand 2 years ago, but it was first held aloft in 1851 and later named the America after the yacht that first won the trophy at Cowes that year. Today it returned to England for the first time in 146 years, but in a much sorrier state. Last month a member of a Maori protest group attacked the trophy with a sledgehammer, seriously damaging the intricate silverwork. He was angry that land he saw as Maori was being used to build a village for competitors of the next America's Cup in Auckland in 2000.
I think it was a matter of seconds, but like any accident, it only takes a few seconds for a car to be demolished, and he's done a pretty efficient job at demolishing the America's Cup. So.
The cup has been returned to England so as Garrard's of Regent Street, its original makers, can restore it using the original tools.
Everything is been in the workshop for 100 years and it's still the same. We still use the same methods as it was made in 1848. I'll have to cut it into half a dozen bits to straighten it out and then put it all back together again.
The work should take around 6 to 8 weeks and is being done with a of love. Garrard's are not charging for the restoration.
This is the moment of truth for the craftsman expected to put the cup back together.
What do you think of that? Oh dear. Well, that's much worse than the photos we saw. The split through here is. This guy's really going to go at this, isn't he? This will come away from here, won't it? Come off.
There's not a lot wrong with that.
The first step to separate the good from the bad, the easy way. The Garrard workshop still boasts the same techniques used to make the cup nearly 150 years ago, and they accept it would be easier to make a new one rather than repair the original.
It's far easier to start again. You can plan the thing from start to finish, you can buy the materials that you want, you can assemble it as you want it assembled in a professional manner. What we've got to do here is put right somebody else's mess, and it's 10 times more difficult. 10 times more difficult.
But Rod Hingston's job, much to the surprise of Commodore John Heiss, who was passing through, is to fix the old one. The first stage, not one you really want to watch.
It was hit with a hammer and crushed in. You've got to use the same force to bring it back out again. And then we can start to do the finer points.
If that's not enough, it's then prepared for the forge.
Yeah, I'm going to get it red hot.
So after bashing it about, you set it on fire.
That's it.
Heating it up is to loosen up the molecules in the silver, making it easier to work with. Then it's washed and dropped into some acid, doing a reasonable impression of One Australia as it gurgles to the bottom. But unlike One Australia, the America's Cup will rise again from the depths to lead a useful life. For the next 8 weeks, the craftsmen here at Garrard will be working on the more delicate phases of its restoration. Mark Sainsbury, One Network News, London. Time we saw the cup, it wasn't in great shape, and head silversmith Rod Hingston was having to use brute force to even make a start. 2 weeks later, he's made a lot of headway.
So here it is, all in pieces. Yes, all in pieces. So this has been repaired now and finished just as a little part of the unit. This was all squashed in. I've got it to be all the same now, which is good. That was a mess, and this wasn't very badly damaged at all, and it was just over to one side, and I've straightened that up now. So this was just crushed in here. So that's an easy one to do. And the handle, there's still a little bit of this is curled over a bit more. I've got to bring that out a bit. So there's not much to do to that at all. So that's the easy one. It's just this piece and the replacement of that collet that went on there.
The largest piece of the cup suffered the most damage, and day after day, Rod's been tapping away to give it back its shape.
Yes, this was crushed in, and I've pulled this up now. And this was in as well, and there was some very heavy bruising and dents in the sides. It was too thin on one spot and it's had to be cut away. I'll have to put a piece in there. It won't be recognisable when it's done. Just look as it was, and then it'll be re-engraved afterwards, as all these are engraved.
So I mean, is it like panel beating a car? You put in some filler and sand it over?
No, it's finer than that. You don't use anything. It's just the metal is either these pieces are soldered on or taken off and soldered back on, so that it is as it was originally made. You don't. There's no filler put into it.
So you have to beat the dents out again?
Yes.
But even these master craftsmen couldn't rescue all the cup.
So Rob, what's the story here?
Well, this was the part of the collet that went on here that was completely squashed, and in getting it out, it's as you can see, it's very thin and it's broken up. So the best thing was to make a new part for that, which is this here. This is now made, and Jeff the Chaser will put back in the shape that was in there before.
How do you recreate this? I mean, how do you get it to look like the original?
Well, obviously there's some information still left on that piece. It's not totally destroyed, but looking at the photos there, I can see exactly what's going on with the cup, and I can transform that onto the spinning here to transform this to the original cup.
And you've warmed this up too, haven't you?
Yes, I've warmed that to make the pitch a lot softer, so that it gives it that give to transform it how I wish.
And so you just tap away at it till you get the shape
Yeah,
you want?
you tap away and transform the metal.
And precious metal at that. When all the pieces are ready, Rod will glue them back together. The glue being silver solder.
Now this is Steve Goldsmith, our master polisher at Garrard, restoring the piece of work now. It has taken about 40 hours to restore the America's Cup to its former glory.
Officially handed back to its guardians at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. About 70 people gathered at the club today for a special lunch to welcome home the old mug.
I didn't believe that they could restore it to the level that they have. The workmanship is just absolutely wonderful.
And to thank the man who headed the restoration effort. Richard Jarvis is the managing director of Garrard's Jewellers, the London company which originally made the cup back in 1842. When he heard of the cup attack in March, he was determined Garrard should repair it. Garrard's top silversmith, Rod Hingston, spent 3 months repairing the damaged trophy, beating out the dents, making new parts and soldering it all back together. And they did it all for free.
The main thing was to bring it back to its former glory, and that was the most important thing to us, and the charge didn't come into it.
So, after a 26-hour first-class flight, the cup arrived back in Auckland this morning, and in a few days it's about to embark on another journey, this time around New Zealand. The trophy's being taken on a tour of 17 cities and towns amid tight security. The cup's going to be on tour for 2 months, and when it returns here to the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, a brand new custom-made showcase from Germany will be waiting. The new case is made of bulletproof glass, and once the cup's inside it, it will be so heavy it's virtually impossible to move.
Our electronic surveillance system is quite sophisticated, so we believe we'll have the best protection possible for it.
The old mug was the centre of attention when Team New Zealand won the yachting trophy in San Diego just over 2 years ago, and then again when it was vandalised in March. Today the trophy was once again in the spotlight in its rightful position at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. Megan Francis, One Network News.
Anybody else? So what's it? Oh, you can see the new engraving, aren't they, can't you? Oh yeah. Not that new, is it? No, close to not. It's a bit black now. But you know, well, dusty, wouldn't he? Dusty, yeah.
Our work continues on at Naylor Brothers for Garrard.
These are toast racks before I get to them. Ellie?
What makes it look like I'm working now? I couldn't understand it at the start. Pull that big up. Yeah, that big grass growing, John.
3.
Are dying, you know.
It's all to do with labour saving time, you know, saving. To see it.
Hi, Steve.
Okay.
Ruin your video.
We are, I don't want You shall get the dusting over your review.
Chief Executive of Garrard. Please allow me to introduce my colleagues, David Thomas, Crown Jeweller, one of my directors, Mr. Edward Asprey. We are here this morning to celebrate the marriage of Asprey and Garrard. Asprey and Garrard together represent more than 400 years of expertise and achievement in jewellery, in silver, in gold, in leather and other fine British luxury goods. This morning we welcome here, and I'm indeed honoured and proud to welcome our craftsmen from our now combined factories. Our silversmith, who will shortly lead our craftsmen in for the very first time into the doorway of Asprey and Garrard, is bearing first item of silver, hallmarked with the new Asprey and Garrard hallmark. So truly, this morning, we are making history to officially declare Asprey and Garrard open for business.